AI is an industrial revolution because in order for AI to be realized, you have to start with the energy sector, the chips, the infrastructure, which is land, power, shell, the cloud services, and then there's the AI models. And even the AI models, there's AI models for languages, there are physical AI models for self-driving cars and robotics, there's AI models for biology and chemistry and for drug discovery, there's AI models for physics so that we could do climate and weather simulation and prediction. And so there's AI models of all kinds. Yeah. And then on top of that is the applications, the highest layer, which is the most important part because it's about the application of the technology that you and I are working on inventing. And so the applications of the technology affects financial services and healthcare and education and transportation and chip design and so on and so forth, right? You name it, every single industry, $100 trillion industry. And because intelligence is fundamental, the ability to process information, to reason and problem solve, which is the foundations of intelligence, affects every single industry. This is the ultimate general purpose technology. And so not only are we creating a new industry, this 5-layer cake that I just described, this technology is also going to revolutionize every single industry, which is the reason why this is so exciting. And it's something that we have to do very, very thoughtfully, very carefully, responsibly, but we also want to do it with enthusiasm because bringing productivity to all of those industries, you name it, whether it's in healthcare, who doesn't want to end suffering, pain and suffering? In transportation, who doesn't want to make transportation safer? In the case of manufacturing, who doesn't want us to be able to augment the shortage of labor that we have so that all of the companies can continue to grow? In energy, why wouldn't we want to take advantage of the opportunity, a once-in-a-generation opportunity, to use market forces to upgrade the energy grid, to be able to support and invest in sustainable energy without government subsidies for the very first time, since the beginning of sustainable energy? You name it. If you would like to build a solar plant today, no problem. If you would like to build a nuclear plant today, no problem. All completely market driven. And so you give your favorite example of energy, and then there will be somebody who would be more than happy to fund it. And so I think that across the board, we're seeing this extraordinary opportunity because of the market forces and the market demand for this technology. Now, what it means for the United States in the near term, and we're at the epicenter of that right here, a perfect example of it, this is the first time in our careers where the number of chip fabs here in the United States is going to grow extraordinarily.
It's fantastic, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so since we started our careers, the number of chip fabs have been largely declining, except for now. We're building chip fabs, packaging plants, computer plants, manufacturing plants, and as well as, of course, AI data centers, and just energy generation plants everywhere across the United States. We've already, in the last several years, created some 600,000 jobs. And we're going to create a whole bunch of jobs here. And these jobs are manufacturing jobs, and which our country really desperately needs. We need to bring back the builders, the makers, people who want to create this industrial sector for the United States. It's wonderful for our economy. It's going to be wonderful for our communities, and so I think it's just I'm kind of enthusiastic about it.
Oh, that's a great vision.
Yeah.
So let's dig a little bit deeper into what is it going to take, right? Because it's not just computing power, it's not just computing capacity. There's a lot of other infrastructure that needs to get built. The energy grid you mentioned. It's not just the compute, but the connectivity between that compute. So maybe we could talk a little bit about the connectivity.
Well, the thing that we build, everybody knows what a computer is. You all carry one on your phone, and you also carry one in your laptop. But imagine millions of these things connected together, working as one. And it's the ultimate. It's called distributed computing. It's the ultimate distributed computing problem. And you take a very, very large computing problem, and we call it sharding. You distribute it. You cut it up into chunks, and you shard it across this incredible computer. We call it an AI factory. Right. And it's the largest software program the world's ever processed. It is the most computing-intensive software program the world's ever processed. And you're trying to run it as fast as you can. You you're prompting an AI, and it's got to go off and first of all understand what you just asked it. It might have to go back and do some research, read a whole bunch of documents, and maybe those documents are a whole bunch of PDFs of drug discovery research or various disease research. And it's got to read a whole bunch of PDFs, and PDFs are not easy to read, and so it's got to go off and read that. It might decide to go chase down some of the references and go do some research, and then now it becomes an expert in that one topic. And then now it's grounded in the truth. It can go reason about how to solve the problem, how to do the research, or how to answer the question that you gave it. And so it's got to reason about that. It might decide to use tools that are in the laboratory, and that tool could be a robot that's manipulating and it's doing all kinds of different experiments across different proteins and different chemicals, and that robot has to do certain things, and it comes back with measurements that comes back to the computer. And so I just described a autonomous lab that will be the future of drug discovery. And that AI has to think as fast as possible, and knows that processing is done on these giant computers.
Yeah.
Well, the chips are the silicon wafers. However, in order for us to connect hundreds of thousands or millions of these processors together, the separation is not in number of feet. The separation is hundreds of feet. Maybe it's thousands of feet.
Right.
And maybe it's even across an entire data center. And so we're trying to connect all these processors together to work as one. Well, the way that you solve that problem, in close proximity, you can use electricity, electrical circuits. However, if you want to connect it far away, the only way to solve that problem is silicon photonics or optical. And so we take electricity, we activate one of your indium phosphide lasers, and
built here in Sherman.
built right here, the world's most advanced indium phosphide fab, ladies and gentlemen, and 6-inch wafers. And
that's right.
And, right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yes.
And so you apply a little electricity to this laser diode, and miracle happens, right?
Yeah.
And light comes out the other end. That goes down a whole bunch of optics, travels as far as you need it to travel. On the other side of it, you pick up the photons.
Detector. Yep.
Yeah, detectors, and you convert that back to electricity, and that electricity then drives our chips. Now the two chips, or millions of chips, are now communicating with each other. And so the interconnect that is optical, it's pretty fundamental to our ability to scale out to the sizes of computers that we like to do.
And becomes a more important part of the architecture moving forward, right?
So important.
So we announced a partnership between NVIDIA and Coherent back in March. We're very grateful for that partnership. That partnership here in Sherman, that means we're going to double the size of the production facility, but we're actually going to quadruple the output of this facility. So how does a partnership like this, how does that factor into your thinking moving forward on the criticality of manufacturing, maybe U.S. manufacturing? How do you think about that moving forward?
Well, we're going to reindustrialize the United States, but we like to industrialize the United States in the area of manufacturing that's the most advanced, has the highest skilled laborers, has the highest paying jobs, produces the greatest value. I mean, this is a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
And so the type of products that we're creating here is the most advanced in the world, and we had to obviously take advantage of the fact. I mean, if you just think about it for a second. Coherent was started in the 1970s.
Yep, 71.
71, and so that's another way of saying you've been around a long time.
We have. We have. And we were founded as a manufacturing company in Saxonburg, Pennsylvania. So we've always
building lasers.
Yeah. So we've always been a manufacturing company.
Yeah. So after all these years, you've gotten good at it, and so.
Thank you. It took us 50 years.
What's that?
It only took us 50 years.
Yeah. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard, and because it is. And so after 50 years, you're world class at it, and here's the amazing thing. After 50 years, the most advanced indium phosphide fab 6-inch fab in the world is right here.
Right.
And we're going to, in 1 year's time, quadruple it. That tells you something. It took 50 years to build that 1X. We're going to take it was 1 year to build a 4X. Are you guys? The scale up is incredible. That tells you about the incredible demand that we have for accelerated computing, for the computing that we're doing. And it gives us the capacity, if not for the fact that there's such a large market, if not for the fact that the American companies are doing so well, if not for the fact that we have revenues and the growth, how would we be able to support the investments that we're trying to make right here?
Yeah.
And so I think that President Trump's initiatives on pro-energy, without energy, how can we build fabs? How can we build plants? Without energy, how could there be economic growth? If not for the prosperity of the companies and doing so well around the world, exporting around the world so that we can bring back tax revenues, so that we can bring back revenues, how could we invest in manufacturing here locally?
Yeah.
And so how can we create jobs? And so that flywheel is really important to sustain. And I think that it's really great that you acknowledge the support of Secretary Lutnick and President Trump. I think is really terrific.
So Sherman, is a great example of not just expanding U.S. manufacturing capacity, but job creation. This site, when we get to full capacity, it'll support over 1,000 jobs, both direct and indirect. It'll support over 550 direct jobs. Actually, as you drove in, you might have seen it. There's a big "We're hiring" sign, a big coherent. Yeah. So anybody out there that needs a job, there's applications right in the back there. Please,
I applied personally. the quality of life here, according to ChatGPT, the quality of life here is extremely good. That's what I read. Yeah.
But is a site like Sherman and what we're doing here in Sherman, is this an example
Great community,
of
really family oriented? That's what it said.
Is
lake quality life. As we were landing, I saw all kinds of
there's
boats,
lots of lakes.
Lots of boats.
Yeah, this part of Texas.
Yeah, who doesn't want to live here?
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm
helping you recruit.
You are. I hope somebody's recording this because we're going to play this for new recruits. But is this a proof point of kind of, we're talking about reindustrialization, but like, a new era of industrial growth in the U.S., a new era of manufacturing growth driven by AI. Is this kind of a proof point of that, a marker of the beginning of that?
Jim, in the last call it 100 years, without the automotive industry, what manufacturing did we really do? The United States has been declining in manufacturing for some time, and the computer industry was largely outsourced, and it became really an intellectual property job, right? Information processing job, and over the course of the last 50 years, our economy and our communities have really changed in shape, and we really need to figure out a way to bring back manufacturing. However, how do you fundamentally bring back manufacturing for industries that have existed forever? You and I, we're strategists. CEOs are strategists, and when we think about how do you enter into a new market, how do you drive prosperity, how do you drive growth? Driving growth, you can't go and compete with somebody doing something that they've been doing for 50, 100 years. And so we need to look for a transition, a phase shift, a new industry that happens where all of a sudden a whole bunch of new skills, a whole bunch of new factories, a whole bunch of new companies that didn't exist before can now exist.
Yeah.
And this is the perfect time for the United States. We are going to re-industrialize the United States in precisely the type of plants that were either unnecessary or not enough in the past. And so if you look at chip plants, the number of chip plants around the world is growing simultaneously everywhere. So the fact that we're growing here in the United States, on the one hand, it doesn't take away from anybody else's growth. They're more than delighted to partner with us and support our growth here. And so we're bringing chip plants back here. We're bringing packaging plants and computer plants. This is the perfect time to go and invest in reindustrialization. And the type of reindustrialization we're doing is precisely the right type.
So when we, maybe kind of last question, when we think forward 10 years from now, fast forward, 10 years from now, we look back at this time, what do you think people will say about the investment in AI infrastructure, the investment in U.S. manufacturing. I mean, how will we look at this 10 years from now? The beginning of the start?
Well, 10 years from now, you're going to be probably on the boat on one of those lakes enjoying life, and I'll still be working.
This facility may be 10 times larger 10 years from now.
I'll still be working. Yeah. Let's see. 10 years from now, we're going to look back and we're going to realize a couple, 2, 3 things, and it's all the things that we've been talking about. One, the pro-energy growth agenda has enabled the United States to grow the economy again. The second thing is I really believe that we are going to look backwards and realize that AI was what made it possible for us to invest in sustainable energy, upgrade our energy grid, bring back and reconstitute a workforce that is essential for social harmony. You can't just have information workers in an economy. You also have to have builders. It should not be the case that the only good jobs you can have are the ones that you get a PhD in computer science. I mean, you should be able to create a great life and build a great family and find a really prosperous job if you want to do something with your hands and build something. And so I think we want a society that is balanced with people who are builders and creators and inventors, and artists and right across the entire spectrum. Yeah. And so I think we have an opportunity this next 10 years to go reshape our communities, reshape our society, and be much more balanced. I think we're just going to have a lot more social harmony as a result of that. And we might, hopefully this gets recorded, we might look back 10 years and say that conversation really kind of stirred it and reminded us that this moment that allows us to reindustrialize the United States not only shaped the economy, but it also not only shaped our technology leadership and our national security, our economy, but also our communities.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Jensen.
想看最完整的新闻内容，记得下载TVBS 新闻网 APP。